Hello, I'm Rabbi Amy Shinerman. We've all heard the expression, your home is your castle. Even if you don't think of your home as a castle, for most of us, it is certainly a refuge. The place we can come and leave the pressures of the world behind. A place where everything is familiar. A place filled with our creature comforts, sentimental knickknacks, its refrigerator stocked with our favorite foods. Spending all our time at home, some of us find it is still our castle or refuge, but some begin to feel it's a bit of a prison as well. However comfortable, confinement to home makes some of us feel trapped. And while some of us thrive despite isolation, some of us find it is difficult and painful. Biologists, psychologists, and sociologists all tell us that we human beings are a social species, and that we rely on personal relationships and interactions, as well as cooperation, to survive and thrive. I suppose, then, we should not be surprised by how difficult this isolation is. I want to share with you a story from the Talmud about a 2nd century rabbi who had to leave his castle, his community, to seek refuge in a cave for 13 years. This sage's name was Shimon bar Yochai. The circumstances were different, to be sure, but the story provides a helpful lens to view our own present situation. Rabbi Shimon fell afoul of the Roman government, which placed a steep price on his head. He fled with his young son Eleazar, leaving behind the rest of his family, all his colleagues, his community, and hid out in a cave. The thought of a cave certainly makes me see my house as a castle. The Roman government that pursued Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and would have executed him had they discovered the location of the cave was his coronavirus. Therefore, Rabbi Shimon had to cut off all contact with other people, even his wife, lest his whereabouts become known and leaked to the Romans. Rabbi Shimon's isolation with his son was far greater than ours. No phone, no internet. They had only one another for company for 13 long years. Talmud recounts that Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and his son survived the quarantine on carobs growing on a tree at the mouth of the cave and water from a stream running through the cave. Subsistence living in the extreme. Today, we cannot obtain all the foods we might wish when we want them. Not everything is available, but thankfully, we are far from subsistence living. I find myself thinking often of those whose income has been completely cut off by job loss and who are struggling to obtain enough food for themselves and their families. One twofold blessing that I'm already experiencing and hope will stay with me after the coronavirus has left is a greater appreciation of just how much I have, coupled with the keen realization that the quality of my life does not depend so much on what I have and what I forego. I hope that's true for you too. The Talmud recounts that Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai spends all his time praying and studying Torah with his son. He uses prayer and study to sustain and strengthen himself. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Prayer and study, study and prayer. It's a good reminder that prayer and study can be powerfully sustaining pursuits, both spiritually and emotionally. Please, incorporate some of each every day. Those of us hunkering down and physically distancing ourselves today happily have many other options because we are in our homes. We have books and games and hobbies we can pursue. We have access to a phone and the internet to connect with others. We can hear their voices and see their faces. What an enormous blessing. My mind often wanders these days to imagining what enduring physical distancing like this during a pandemic would have been like several decades ago, before the advent of cell phones and the internet, before FaceTime, Skype, and Zoom. And let's also remember the cornucopia of entertainment options on YouTube, Netflix, Disney+, YouCorn, and all the other streaming services that help us fill our time with quality entertainment, learning options, and even virtual prayer services. After 12 years in the cave, Elijah comes to inform Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai that the Roman emperor, who signed the edict calling for his execution, has died. He is free to leave his isolation in the cave. For Rabbi Shimon, the plague has lifted. You might think that Rabbi Shimon would be joyous and ebullient, but he emerges angry and resentful. The very first thing he does is attack an innocent farmer engaged in the quotidian of life. Witnessing his violence, God declares him unfit for the world, banishes him back to the cave for another year. Another year. Perhaps you're wondering if another year of quarantine doesn't make him more angry, more bitter, more dangerous. But no, it has, remarkably enough, quite the opposite effect on him. When he emerges a year later, Rabbi Shimon has finally learned compassion. Rejoining his family and community, Rabbi Shimon implements numerous pro-social measures to benefit others and improve life in his city. I wondered, how does this part of Rabbi Shimon's story apply to us? Perhaps you're feeling angry and resentful, even bitter about your isolation. If so, please know you're not alone. But please recognize that those emotions are harmful to you. There is a legion of scholars who study human neurology and psychology who have demonstrated again and again that pro-social behavior, that is, when we focus our attention and energy on helping other people, that we are the primary beneficiaries. Pro-social behavior has been demonstrated to promote subjective well-being, elevate mood, increase life satisfaction, and even improve physical health. In other words, if you want to be happier, be kinder. Isolation and the loneliness it entails are real, and they're rife among us. My takeaways from the story of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai's quarantine in the cave for this period of coronavirus for us are these. First, the twofold blessing I'm already experiencing and hope to retain forever. A greater appreciation of just how much I have, along with the keen realization that the quality of my life depends not so much on what I have and what I forego. I hope that's true for you as well. Second, just as Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai used prayer and study to strengthen and sustain himself, we too can engage in prayer and study in pursuit of the same goals. We also have a wider menu of options for our time, including entertainment and ways of connecting with others. Let's use them well. And third, isolation fosters a variety of emotional reactions, some painful and negative, such as sadness, loneliness, anger, and resentment. Please watch for these in yourself and find ways to counter them by reminding yourself that your isolation protects both you and others. Try prayer and study to bolster your spirit. Reach out by phone and internet to support others, and in so doing, support yourself. And know that at any time, you are welcome to reach out to me. I will always welcome your call or email. I offer this prayer for everyone struggling with the isolation that is so vitally necessary now. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of all our ancestors, source of strength. We pray for everyone living in isolation, experiencing emotions that often come with isolation: fear, boredom, anxiety, anger, loneliness. Separated and apart from those they love, lonely for the touch of another human being, hungry for a face-to-face conversation and embrace. Be with them in their isolation and bless them with strength. Source of strength, strengthen those suffering from the coronavirus, fighting for their lives. Grant strength and stamina to the devoted caregivers who care for them, and those who support them from afar, so often overcome by worry and fear. Bless them all with strength. Source of strength, grant us strength to push away anger and bitterness and draw hope close. Grant us strength amidst our loneliness to fashion from it compassion. And let us use that compassion to reach out and support family, friends, and neighbors to alleviate their loneliness. Bless us all with strength. Amen. Please stay safe and well, and know that your isolation is life-saving. You are slowing the spread of coronavirus and thereby saving lives, perhaps your own. Shalom.